Ever find yourself wondering, what's it like to be the one in charge when it comes to keeping the energy flowing?
It's a big responsibility.
Big responsibility. That's an understatement, right? We're going deep on that today. Specifically, the role of gas processing plant control room operator.
Now, there's a job title that sounds important, huh?
Definitely not your average 9 to 5.
Not even close.
So we've got a stack of sources to dig into all about what these operators actually do, the skills they need, the challenges they face.
The real inside scoop.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly for anyone considering this career path, how to stand out in what we hear is a pretty competitive field.
No shortage of competition these days, that's for sure.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Our career guide describes this role as a mix of high-tech and surprisingly hands-on.
It's not just sitting behind a monitor, that's for sure.
Right, so paint a picture for us. What's it actually look like in that control room?
Well, first off, picture a wall. No, like a wall of screens.
Okay, I'm seeing it.
And those screens are showing you everything that's happening in the plant in real time.
Talk about information overload.
You get used to it. But yeah, you're seeing pressure gauges, temperature readings, you name it. It's like the entire plant's nervous system is laid out right there in front of you.
And it's the operator's job to keep that nervous system from going haywire?
Precisely. You're monitoring those readings constantly, looking for any sign of trouble, and making adjustments as needed to keep everything running smoothly.
Sounds like those decisions could have some pretty major consequences.
Oh, absolutely. One small miscalculation could lead to a system shutdown.
And a system shutdown means?
Lost production, potential safety risks. It's not something you want on your record.
Makes sense. No wonder our source emphasizes the ability to, and I quote, thrive under pressure as pretty much essential for this role.
Yeah, thrive is the key word there, not just survive.
So walk us through it. What else does the guide say about this kind of work environment? What are some of those day-to-day pressures?
Well, there's the obvious, the constant hum of machinery. You might need to wear protective gear. It's not exactly a quiet office setting.
I was gonna say.
But honestly, the real pressure cooker is the decision-making aspect.
When those alarms start going off.
Exactly. When that happens, you need to be able to think on your feet, troubleshoot quickly, and potentially execute emergency procedures without missing a beat.
Definitely not a job for someone who panics easily.
Or someone who gets bored easily, for that matter.
That's a good point. It sounds like there's never a dull moment.
Not if you're doing it right.
Right. So high pressure, potentially stressful, but also, as our source points out, in high demand.
That's the trade-off, right?
There's that trade-off again. So is this whole job security thing legit?
From what I've seen, yeah. The guy talks about how manufacturing, energy production, so many industries rely on natural gas, and that's not changing anytime soon.
If anything, it's probably becoming even more important.
My thoughts, exactly.
Yeah.
Someone's got to make sure those plants are running smoothly 24/7.
24/7, that reminds me. What about the work-life balance situation? Is it as demanding as it sounds?
We'll get into the nitty-gritty later, but let's just say it's not your typical 9 to 5.
Okay, so maybe not the best fit for someone who really values their weekends?
Or someone who hates surprises. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough. Okay, so we've established this as a demanding role, but with good job security, solid earning potential, but maybe not the best work-life balance. Let's talk about how you actually climb the ladder in this field. Our career guide breaks down the career path into stages.
Yeah, it's a bit like leveling up in a video game, actually. You start with the basics, and
Then things get more and more complex as you go.
you got it. So you might start as an entry-level operator, shadowing the more experienced folks, learning the ins and outs of the specific plant you're working in.
Getting a feel for those pressure gauges.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you move up to more responsibility. Maybe you're supervising a small team of junior operators, or you're the go-to person for troubleshooting a certain type of equipment.
So you really get to specialize as you progress.
Absolutely. And the guide highlights this one senior operator, been doing it for years, and now he's basically running the whole show.
Wow, from monitoring pressure gauges to calling the shots?
That's how it goes. He's coordinating with other departments, analyzing long-term performance data, even contributing to strategic planning for the whole plant. It's impressive.
That's seriously impressive. So there's definitely room to grow, to specialize, and to really make this a long-term career.
Oh yeah, this isn't just a job, it's a career path.
Okay, that's a great point. So career path potential, check. Pressure valve in the plant, the pros and cons.
Lay it on me.
The guide doesn't hold back. It talks about great earning potential, good benefits, but also those long, irregular hours, the potential for stressful situations. How do you weigh those trade-offs?
It all comes down to personality, really.
Yeah.
Some people, they thrive in that kind of environment. They love the challenge, the pressure, the knowing that every day is going to be different.
They're energized by it almost.
Exactly. While other folks, they might prefer something a little more,
A
predictable.
little more 9 to 5.
Yeah, and that's okay. The
Okay.
point is, there's no right or wrong answer. The important thing is to be honest with yourself about what you want and what you can handle.
Because a job, any job, is only good if it's a good fit for the person doing it right.
100%. And that goes double for a high-stakes role like this one.
Absolutely. Well said. And speaking of finding the right fit, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the actual job search process because let's face it, that can be a whole other beast.
Don't get me started.
Well, lucky for us, our next source dives deep into that very topic. It's all about a platform called RoleCatcher, which promises to be a game changer for job seekers.
RoleCatcher, I've heard that name thrown around.
It's been making waves. So let's see if it lives up to the hype. What makes it different from your typical job board? What are we working with here? So we're talking about RoleCatcher, this platform that's supposed to be like a secret weapon for job seekers,
It's definitely got people talking.
especially in specialized fields, right? Like if you're trying to break into something like gas plant operations.
That's where it can really shine, yeah.
So for those of us who haven't heard all the buzz, what's the deal? What makes it
Yeah.
different from just going straight to like Indeed or Monster or whatever?
Okay, imagine this. You're on one of those job boards.
Okay,
Hundreds of listings. You're scrolling,
been there.
and then you see it, the perfect job title, gas plant control room operator. It's like destiny.
The clouds part, the angels sing.
Right. But now you've got to, bookmark it, copy the link, hope you remember where you found it.
Or you end up with like a million tabs open.
Exactly. And then maybe you forget to actually apply, or you miss the deadline because you lost track.
The worst. So RoleCatcher, it solves that whole mess.
It's like having a personal assistant for your job search.
Sign me up.
Right. So with RoleCatcher, you see a listing, you hit this button, they call it RoleCatcher, and it sucks up all the information for you. The job description, the company info, salary details.
No more copying and pasting into a spreadsheet.
Exactly. It's all there, organized in your RoleCatcher account.
Okay, that's already pretty slick.
But it gets better. So you've captured a few jobs, right? RoleCatcher then goes and compares those listings to your uploaded CV or resume.
Is this where the AI magic comes in?
Oh, absolutely. It analyzes everything, looks for those keywords, those skills that employers are looking for.
And then tells you what you need to work on.
Basically, it shows you where your experience aligns, but also highlights any potential gaps or areas where you could, beef up your application.
So you're not just guessing, you know exactly what to emphasize for each job.
Exactly. Like, for a gas plant control room operator, maybe they're really focused on safety protocols or a certain type of equipment.
And RoleCatcher will tell you if you need to highlight those skills more prominently.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of tailoring your resume or CV, which, let's be honest, can be the most soul-crushing part of the whole job search process.
Amen to that. But okay, let's say you've used RoleCatcher, you've crafted the perfect application, you've wowed them with your skills and experience, and you land an interview.
Time for the real pressure cooker.
Right. Any help for that part of the process, or are you on your own?
RoleCatcher had your back. They've got this whole interview prep module, and it's seriously next level.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
They have this massive database of interview questions, like over 120,000 of them.
120,000. That's like more questions than I've asked in my entire life.
It's a lot. But here's the thing. They're not just random generic questions.
Please tell me they're specific to the actual job you're applying for.
You got it. They're categorized by industry, job title, seniority level.
So no more being blindsided by a question that's totally irrelevant to the actual work?
Exactly. With RoleCatcher, you can practice answering questions that are actually relevant to the role of, say, gas plant control room operator.
Like, what would those questions even be? Give me an example.
So they might ask about how you handle pressure in a high-stakes environment or your knowledge of specific safety protocols.
Stuff that actually matters.
Right. Or they might throw some curveballs at you, scenario-based questions like, what would you do if?
And RoleCatcher helps you, like, practice your answers to those curveballs.
More than just practice. Remember that AI we talked about?
RoleCatcher's Copilot, right?
That's the one. You can actually have Copilot analyze your responses, your delivery, everything, and give you personalized feedback.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And it can make all the difference because even if you've got the skills and experience, if you can't communicate that effectively in an interview,
You're sunk.
pretty much. But with RoleCatcher, you can walk into that interview feeling confident, prepared, and ready to impress.
It's like leveling up your job search game, taking it to a whole new level.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And the best part is, it's not about replacing the human element. It's about enhancing it.
Because at the end of the day, you still got to connect with a hiring manager, right?
100%.
Yeah.
But RoleCatcher, it helps you get your foot in the door. It gives you that edge in a competitive market, and it lets you focus on what you do best.
Which is, hopefully, operating those gas plants like a pro.
That's the goal.
Mm.
But, what if I told you there's a way to potentially skip the whole application process altogether?
Wait, seriously, tell me more. So you're saying instead of us chasing after jobs, the jobs could actually come to us?
That's the idea. It's all about visibility.
Okay, but how does RoleCatcher make that happen? It's not like employers are just, like, browsing resumes all day, hoping to stumble across the perfect candidate, right?
Well, actually, with RoleCatcher, they kind of are, but in a much more targeted way.
Okay, I'm listening.
So remember how RoleCatcher analyzes your skills, your experience, based on your CV? It's not just for you, for job seekers.
They use that same tech for employers.
Exactly. An employer can create, like an ideal candidate profile, listing out all the skills, experience, even those personality traits they're looking for.
It's like a dating app, but for your career.
Huh. Kind of. RoleCatcher plays matchmaker, connecting the dots between job seekers and employers who might never have crossed paths otherwise.
That's wild. So I could be, like, minding my own business, polishing my resume, and suddenly, bam, I get a notification from RoleCatcher saying, hey, there's an employer who's really digging your skills.
That's the beauty of it. It takes away so much of the guesswork, the uncertainty of the traditional job search.
No more sending out applications into the void, hoping for the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With RoleCatcher, you're putting yourself out there, but you're doing it strategically in a way that maximizes your visibility to the right people.
It's like instead of fishing with a single line, you're casting a giant net.
And that net is powered by AI, making sure it lands in the right fishing spots.
I like the way you think. So it's not just about making the job search easier. It's about, like, fundamentally changing the power dynamic.
100%. It puts more control in the hands of both job seekers and employers.
And with a specialized role like gas plant control room operator, where you really need to connect with employers who understand that very specific skill set, that's huge, right?
Absolutely. It cuts through the noise, helps you stand out from the crowd.
Well, this has been eye-opening. We've gone from pressure gauges to AI-powered career matchmaking in, like, an hour.
It's a wild world out there.
That's for sure. But on that note, let's wrap things up. For anyone listening who's feeling maybe a little overwhelmed by the whole job search process.
Or anyone who's just curious about the future of work.
Yes. The big takeaway here is that you're not alone, and there are tools out there like RoleCatcher that can make this whole thing a lot less daunting.
And a lot more effective.
Exactly. So do your research, explore your options, and don't be afraid to embrace the power of technology to help you achieve your career goals.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And who knows, maybe the next time we do a deep dive on a career path, we'll have some of you listening who landed your dream job thanks to the power of AI.
And that's something to look forward to.
It sure is.